This is Democracy Watch. Marc, I want to cover a lawsuit in Georgia that left me gobsmacked when I read it. Two right-wing activists are suing Fulton County because they challenged a bunch of voters' eligibility to be on the ballot, to be on the rolls, and Fulton County didn't give them a hearing within 10 days, and so now they're going to court. In other words, these people have nothing better to do than to ensure that other voters can't vote, and then they go and sue the county when their antics aren't taken seriously. First of all, do they have a valid legal argument here?
They do not have a valid legal argument here. In fact, my law firm is representing the intervener defendants, in this case, a New Georgia Project Action Fund, a great organization founded actually by Stacey Abrams years ago that does voter engagement in the state. And, this is a bogus lawsuit that is not going to prevail, but it speaks volumes of what is going on in Georgia and what we can see around the country with these mass voter challenges, how Republicans in Georgia have tried to enable these, have tried to make this a cornerstone of their efforts. And now you see individuals like the plaintiffs here picking up that mantle and really trying to do some real damage to undermine the ability of people to vote.
Marc, doesn't the National Voter Registration Act prevent the removal of voters within 90 days of an election? Like, why are they arguing that that doesn't apply here?
Yeah, so first of all, the NVRA does prohibit the mass removal of voters in close proximity to the elections, as you mentioned. It also, there are requirements that people who bring legal challenges under the NVRA have to first send a letter to notify or essentially ask the county to correct. That wasn't done here. So there are a lot of procedural problems with this lawsuit. But again, Brian, I think we need to understand this lawsuit as part of a larger culture movement within the Republican Party, which is to make mass challenges something that are not the exception, but rather the rule. To make mass challenges something that we should expect to be filed in the normal course rather than as an affront to democracy. That now they want to make us expect that when there are mass challenges, that counties will hop to and abide by them and courts will enforce them, rather than people gasping and looking at this and saying, my God, how is our democracy in such a place? As in the state of Georgia, you have hundreds of thousands of voters having their eligibility to vote challenged. And what can we do to fix this?
Right. I mean, my reaction to this is how surprising it is that these right-wingers have nothing better to do than to spend their time challenging the eligibility of other voters. Like, I look at this and I think that it's insane that this is how actual people are spending their time to make sure that other people can't vote. But this is the strategy on the right that we're seeing right now.
And that's the thing. I mean, I can't speak to the motivations of these particular individual people who file these challenges. What I do know is that, and you and I have talked about this, and we've written about this on Democracy Docket, that there is a concerted movement by the Republican Party to lie to people and say that there are illegal people voting, to lie to people and say that they cannot trust the outcomes of the elections, and to offer people as a solution to this, not to work within their communities to get more people registered, not to work within their communities to make elections better, but rather to attack the system, to try to disenfranchise their neighbors, to try to disenfranchise their communities in a misguided effort that they are somehow doing something that is noble. And it starts at the top. It starts with Donald Trump. It starts with the RNC. It runs through the state party of Georgia. It runs through the activist community in the Republican Party in Georgia, and not just in Georgia. But and it is a sickness now that is manifesting itself in all of these antisocial ways, all of these anti-voting ways. And so now when you have people who say, I want to disenfranchise or challenge the eligibility of 10,000 people, like, they think that's normal. That is not normal in American history.
You'd mentioned that your firm had intervened in this case. Look, for people watching, the smallest possible step that we can take to support this invaluable work that Marc and his team are doing is to sign up for Democracy Docket. It's the outlet Marc founded to focus on everything voting in elections. It's also an amazing resource. That's where I get all of my legal news. So please, if you're not yet signed up for Democracy Docket, I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. Marc, Is this a Georgia-specific phenomenon that random Georgians are allowed to just challenge the eligibility of other random Georgians? Why can random people impact the ability of other private citizens to cast a ballot? That's like if we were neighbors, you and I, in California, and California allowed me to just challenge your driver's license, and then all of a sudden you need to go to a hearing to defend your right to have a driver's license. Wouldn't that be nuts?
Okay, first of all, the first thing that's nuts is, you and I were East Coast guys, and only one of us moved to California, right?
That's right. That's fair.
So I'm still an East Coast guy, just so everyone knows.
I'm the traitor.
You're the traitor. You're the one where the sun rises in the wrong direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you got all that. All right. So, but yeah, it is nuts. I mean, it is a crazy system that we have, that random people can challenge the right to vote of people they have never met and they do not know. And it is not a uniquely Georgian phenomenon. It has had its worst manifestations in Georgia. What do I mean by that? We did not see mass challenges in this country until the aftermath of the 2020 election. After Donald Trump lost, we saw 364,000 people challenged in the state of Georgia for the runoff Senate elections, which took place 2 months after he lost, right? So it was an immediate reaction, an immediate call out from Donald Trump losing Georgia in November 2020, was to try to disenfranchise 364,000 people for a January special elections for the 2 U.S. Senate seats that decided control of the U.S. Senate. When those efforts failed due to the actions of lawyers like me and my firm and others and activists, when those failed, what did Georgia do? Did Georgia say we need to make sure that voters are protected? No. They passed a law to make it easier to challenge people and harder to defeat challenges. Now, in 2022, we still saw more than 100,000 challenges in Georgia. We still saw mass challenges take place in Georgia, and we still had to fight these in court, and activists and county officials still had to deal with this problem. So what happened after that? Did Georgia back away and say, okay, we need to now reverse course and really clamp down on this? No, they passed another law earlier this year to again make it easier to challenge people's ability to vote, easier to submit mass challenges, and harder to defeat them. Georgia is facilitating this. The Republican legislature in Georgia is facilitating these challenges. They are trying to make it easier. Now, what that has done is that has sparked copycats around the country. So now we see mass challenges in Nevada. We see mass challenges in Texas. We see mass challenges in state after state after state around the country, because this is a tactic that Republicans think that they can embrace to both rhetorically suggest that somehow there is something untoward going on, right, but second, to actually affect who can vote, right? To actually disenfranchise people. So it is a twofer for them. And it is really, really dangerous.
As far as this lawsuit in Fulton County is concerned, is a resolution expected, or is this whole charade just to give Republicans yet another flimsy predicate to be able to claim fraud when they lose?
Yeah, so look, this lawsuit is going to get defeated, and it's going to get defeated, I think, relatively quickly. I don't think this will hang over the state of Georgia for all that long, but it is another example of lawsuits being filed, rules being passed, policies being challenged or implemented that are all part of a common theme on the part of the Republicans and conservatives and activists and their supporters to sow mistrust and distrust in the 2024 election. They know that Donald Trump is almost certain to lose the popular vote. He is likely to lose the presidency under the Electoral College. And they are trying to lay the groundwork to explain to people why it is that this guy will yet again, for the third time, not win the popular vote, and likely for the second time, not win the Electoral College. And it is a shame that that is what the conservative movement and the Republican Party has become.
All of which, by the way, underscores the importance of people like you and your team fighting these Republicans in the courts, which really has become ground zero for all of this stuff. So again, for those watching right now, to support the invaluable work that Marc and his team are doing, please sign up for Democracy Docket. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
I'm Marc Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.